Well, alrighty then. Nope. Suppose we should turn these on so I don't look so dark and sinister here. Figured we'd start off a little early, seeing as how we have a special guest tonight. Some of you already know who the gentleman is, but we're going to give it a little bit of time here, let everybody get in. By the way, One Hot Tamale, good to see you, and Mech Druid, nice to see you over here. So, here we are again. Well, tonight we're going to interview someone that has some firsthand knowledge of what's going on outside of the United States, God forbid. You like the dark and sinister. There you go. Yeah. Someone who's been outside of our area a little bit and isn't necessarily caught up in the vacuum or the echo chamber of what is the I guess the United States side of the world. And a lot of you folks know him out there. And most of you seem to like this feller, I guess. I don't lie. Just kidding. But he was nice enough to come on. And for that, I made him his very own intro. So we're going to play that, and then we're going to bring the gentleman on. So everybody hold on just a little bit here, and we're going to fire this all up. And here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, the one we know as Smokey Randy.
G'day, Montana. G'day, everyone out there. Tell
How you
Tamale
doing?
that I really am that special, and I even gave myself a fancy haircut for the show tonight.
Something like that. I think I was noticing earlier, on D Live and a lot of these platforms, you really can't see that icon really well, And then we got to here, and I saw what you put up, and I couldn't help but start laughing. And then I noticed that it started from his mustache and went all the way down. That's some that's some technology going on there. That's interesting.
It took me about 3 hours this morning to shave it into my chest.
Well, that's what's important anyway. You got to have a little fun, a little spice of life, right? So for those of you that don't know, the quintessential gentleman knows as Smokey Randy, he's gotten to be a bit of a legend over on D Live. He is a quintessential pot stirrer when he needs to be. He's got an excellent sense of humor, and all the ladies seem to fawn over him. I can't figure out why. It may have something to do with the accent. But in fact, you have One Hot Tamale already spamming the chat like no tomorrow. So, but I did want to talk to you tonight.
That does it.
It's the mankini, yeah, of course. I did want to talk to you a little bit tonight about a perspective outside of the United States. We have a tendency to get on these programs and we forget that it's a world wide web instead of just what's going on in America today. And the more and more I thought about this, it seems to be that we're slightly behind the times as far as this, you know, lockdowns and all this kind of fun stuff goes, and we haven't really sat through as much as you guys or even the UK or Canada for that matter have got to go through. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. What is the what's the general feeling down in Australia right now? I mean, are people a little taken aback about how quickly they, spun up to this, or
Not really. The vast majority of people are just happy that we're not in lockdown anymore. So they brutalized us for so long, for 2 years, that everyone sort of just gave up. And now they're at a point now with the Omicron crap going on that we've got more cases now than we've ever had, but they can't backpedal because they've already got 95% of the population double jabbed. So trying to get us back into lockdown now is very hard, but you've got all the other crap going on, all the supply chain stuff, and there's a lot of fear porn still, but the vast majority of people are just over it. But you still see people walking around by themselves in summer on 100-degree day wearing a mask. And yeah, I walk past them when I'm walking the dogs, and I can't help myself. I just look at them in the face and go, "You fucking moron," and just keep on walking. But yeah,
uh,
unfortunately, Australia and New Zealand has always been a bit of a testing ground for the deep state. Whether the Commonwealth thing, the isolation that we are, it just seems to be a bit easier for them to try all the nasty stuff here first. And I mean, they've done it with gun control. They did just well, it was when was the Christchurch false flag in New Zealand? Was it last year or the year before? And they did the big gun grab over there.
yeah.
They did it to us 34 years ago. Oh no, sorry, 24 years ago. And yeah, but it was. I mean, my experience through the whole Corona was it was pretty bloody brutal, to tell you the truth. We've got the world's longest lockdown here. During the really bad part of it, we had a ring of steel around the metropolitan area of Melbourne. So my family and most of my friends live about 45 minutes drive from where I live, which is just outside of the metropolitan area. But they literally had the police and the military on every single road leaving the metropolitan area. And if you didn't have a special exemption to go into the regional area of Victoria, you were literally locked in them. It felt like you're in a prison for months and months on end. And they sort of just broke everyone down, I suppose. But
Yeah, I mean, mentally that had to be overly taxing.
uh, look, I removed myself from the matrix and from society a long time ago. Like I've never really liked. I've always seen society as it's a very false sense of security. Like if you turn the power off, society will collapse within 3 or 4 days. And don't worry about the police saving you or any of that saving you. They're going to be at home saving their family like the rest of us. So you can really see the screws that they've put to our society in the last 2 years. I mean, people like me, it's not really going to affect, but I hate to see what's going to come in the years to come from all the children and the teenagers that have just been brutalized with all this tyranny and all these rules. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they're finished yet. That's for sure.
So, kind of a darker question, but uh, over here in the U.S., we've been dealing with a lot of teen and even child suicide. Do you think that's ramped up over in your neck of the woods also, or?
I know it has. Yeah, there's been some absolutely tragic stories about that over here. I had a friend whose wife works in the emergency department, and the amount of self harm that they've seen in kids as young as 4 years old has gone up by something like 8 or 10-fold in the last 2 years. So,
Good
but
lord.
they never tell you this stuff on the news. They go, "Oh yeah, there might have been a slight increase of suicides," or they don't release the numbers for 4 or 5 years until everyone's forgot about it.
Yeah. Which hmm, that's partly, I mean, sad and partly our fault because, I mean, we could ask some questions too, you know, instead of just saying quiet about it. And it's kind of like if, we live by that adage, if we ignore it, it'll go away. and I don't think this is going away for at least a generation. I mean, they have screwed up a generation of kids.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got mates that have got kids that are under 2 years old, and for the first 12 months of their life, they were walking around outside, not seeing anyone's face, and God knows what damage that's going to do in the long run. The amount of development that you do during those times, not being able to see people's faces and reactions, that's going to, yeah, you're not going to see what that's going to do for another 10 years.
Yeah, I know they've already been talking about speech development being a problem because kids can't see, what's your mouth, what's your lips doing, how do you hold your tongue when you say F's and N's and stuff like that, and they're just not catching on. Well, they can't learn from their parents because we learn by auditory and visual, and we've taken away the visual side, which is
Oh, I think
sad.
any parent that's wearing a mask inside with their children probably shouldn't be having children in the first place if you're that stupid.
Well, you and I could both agree there, but um, yeah, but I that's why well, as well as I do, it's more prevalent than we give it credit for. It's amazing how uneducated there are as far as parents and young people and just not wanting to be engaged, just listening to whatever high muckety muck is on TV that day,
It's all
and
by
it just
design,
gets
though.
very.
Mhm.
I know, but that's sad.
Well, what do you
It-
expect the evil bastards that run this world to do? That they don't want a population of smart people that can think for themselves. They don't want you healthy. They don't want you courageous. They want you a bunch of compliant sheeple that'll do as you're bloody well told.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
that's
that
what
was
I
one
think this
thing.
whole thing was. I think that these last 2 years was a compliance test for people in the world. And to be quite honest, 90% of people failed miserably, like
Miserably.
absolutely miserably. They got scared about the flu and gave up all of their rights. They gave up their jobs. They gave up their way of life, everything for for fear porn.
Yeah,
So even to this day, we've got, I think there was 10,000 cases today and 20 deaths. Okay, so do the maths on that. So 1% of 1,000 is 10.
mm-hmm.
So what is that? 0.2%?
0.2%. Yeah, 0.2%.
Yeah,
Keep that in
yeah. And
mind.
people are still giving up their freedoms for 0.2%. I smoke cigarettes. That has a 50% death rate, and I'm not scared of them.
Yeah. Well, I've been chewing tobacco for most of my life, and yeah, there's fairly decent chance I'm going to lose my job, but I don't seem to stop.
George Burns made it to 100, and he smoked like a train.
My grandfather made it to 89 years old. Once a week, he drank. Uh, well, it was the handled bottle of Lord Calvert. So what's that? A 175 and a roll of Copenhagen every week. Man lived till he finally just said the hell with it. So,
I'll be pissed
stupid
if
people raise stupid kids. That's right, Sergeant Bob. I'll agree with you there.
I've always said there's no such thing as a shit child and a shit dog. There's only shit parents and shit dog owners.
Yep. Yeah, they learn it from somewhere. It's not, I mean, yeah, there's kids that are wilier than usual, and I'm guessing there's a few of them in our chat tonight right now. But
Oh, would you believe that I was a little angel of a child?
I would have trouble. But
I feel sorry for my mum. I put her through hell.
I sent a teacher to the freaking literally to the insane asylum.
That's not
That
bad.
notch on my belt. But all right, so just to clarify, just for everybody out there that thinks that this because you see it on the news all over the place, so I just figured I would ask someone who's actually there: are the COVID camps in Australia real?
Yes.
And how much are they used? I mean, are they
So the one in Northern Territory, called Camp Resolution of all fucking things,
okay?
that was already there, just for using as a quarantine camp, for other different reasons. So that is being used. They're currently building one in Victoria, um, right next to the quarantine and customs, where they quarantine all the animals that come into the country for a certain amount of time and test them and all that shit. So they're building a big camp out there. Yeah, they're real. Yeah, I don't know of anyone that's been taken to any of them, but I mean, you got the whole hotel quarantine thing happened during lockdown here. So if you got sick from the coof, you weren't staying at home. They come and dragged your ass off to a hotel, and like you were literally in prison for 2 weeks. And if you
Yeah, I
kept on
gotcha.
testing positive, you kept on staying in there. There's a family that's currently been in there for 40 days because one of the kids keeps on testing positive. So they keep them in there for another 2 weeks until they all test negative. So yeah,
Jesus. Uh,
I don't get tested. I don't get tested. I don't pay any attention to any of the rules. I don't sign in with any QR codes. I tell you, when I go to a shop where I know they're going to bust my balls, I've got a dumb phone. I've got a Nokia. So I walk up there with my little Nokia slide phone and I go, all right, can you show me how to get the QR code to work on this? And most people just look at me, shake their head, and then they go, where's your mask? Oh, I'm medically exempt. Just walk straight in. Uh,
there you
but
go.
that seems to be more of a problem over in the US than it is over here. Most shops don't really give a shit. You just waltz on in.
Yeah, it's yeah, and we don't. I don't know. As far as my area, Montana and Wyoming, the flyover states, don't seem to have near the problem that our coastlines do. And it sounds like if you're in California, you're just kind of screwed there. And New York is for sure. I mean, you're not going to get anything done in New York. If you get down to Florida, you might have a fighting chance. But I just don't know how long they can pull off the narrative and convince people that this is. I mean, for God's sakes, if like I said before, if I told you that there was a 99.8% chance that you weren't going to shit your pants, would you put a diaper on? Just that simple.
Hmm. Maybe ask a different question.
Are you worried about shitting your pants with a 0.2%?
No, but I do put diapers on my OnlyFans page sometimes.
Oh, here we go. I thought you just show your feet, though. I'm confused.
Sometimes I want to see feet with me wearing diapers. They're weird.
Does the price go up if you put a diaper on?
Oh yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. So, if you were to guess, was there a tipping point uh, at the point where Australia can't kind of went no return? You know,
Um,
or was it just
I
such
think
a
it was at
slow
the very
crawl? That
start, to be honest. When this first started happening, I was screaming at absolutely everyone that I knew, don't let these people take an inch, because once these tyrants take an inch, they will take a mile and you won't even ever get that first inch back. And that's exactly what's happened. Um, but we're the same over here. Certain states are more tyrannical than others. Victoria was absolutely horrendous. We were the worst of the worst during the main part of it. But now Western Australia they've gone absolutely crazy over it. They don't even have any cases over there. They've had a hard border closure for the last year. They've got to the point now where if you're not vaccinated in Western Australia, you can't go to a bottle shop to buy booze. If you have sick kids in hospital, you can't go and visit your own children in hospital unless they're on on death's door. You're not even allowed to go into hospital to visit your own kids. The level of tyranny, it's not stopping. It's just they're just delaying it for a little while. And then you got to think it's summer here too, so we've got all these cases now, but most people are over it. Like most people I know that were scared of the Rona when it first came out, they've been double jabbed. Half of them have already caught it, and they're like, "Oh, it's just the flu." I'm like, I've been telling you that for the last 2 years, you idiots.
yeah.
So a lot of people aren't as scared as they used to be, but most of the old people are still terrified of it. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll wait and see.
Well, but I mean, in reality, old people should be afraid of the flu. I mean, the very very old and the very young are the ones that die from the flu. Um, I,
Yeah,
I just
just people being scared of dying in the first place is the problem. And
well, yeah, exactly. Um, the reason I asked that tipping point question is because, of course, every time I look to Australia, I look back at us because somehow, I don't know how, but we became attached at the hip, and it appears that whatever they try and work or get to work in Australia comes here shortly after. So you always kind of want to look. Well, you are the person that's 18 hours in the future. So I look to you to, all right, where the fuck is that marker at that we need to start turning this ship? But
Well, you need to
mm,
look at places like New York where they've pretty much got the same rules as here,
yeah,
and look at the population there. It's You need to understand that tyrants don't give a shit about what 10% of the population think. We can yell and scream as much as we want. It's not going to change a thing. The only way that we're going to change anything is if the whole population rises up. I mean, you could fix all of these problems with a general strike. If everyone went on strike for 1 week, the government would be forced to back down on all this stuff. But people don't have the balls to do it, and yeah, they don't want to put up
yeah.
with a week of hard times to get some good times in the future.
Hmm. Interesting thought. I guess I never thought of a 1 week solidarity strike where everybody just said, no, we're
Yeah,
done.
and it takes everyone to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
the Estonians got rid of the Soviets from singing. They literally had their entire population join hands and sing for. They sung songs every day for like 18 months or something like that. Zero violence whatsoever. And the Soviets just got to the point where it's like the entire population doesn't want us here. We should probably just go.
we should probably leave. Um, By the way, Uncle Krusty, thank you for the cookie over on Foxhole. Daily Insanity gifted a cookie. Said, "Great to hear Smokey Randy's voice. Good call, Montana." Well, we may have been hounding him quite a bit for this one, but finally broke the man down.
Montana posted me 15 Dairy Queen coupons, so I finally decided I'd come on.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, it hurt to get rid of my free blizzards, but damn it, I guess it's worth it. Uh, let's see. If you could sit back and tell Americans just one thing from the experience that you went through, and are still going through, what would be the word of advice that you'd give us up here?
Get ready. This is 2030. This is Agenda 2030. If people think that this is the end of the tyranny, this is just the start. So COVID was just a compliance test that we failed, and they're not going to stop the tyranny until we stop it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not black-pilled at all. I'm just realistic about things. And remember that article that I sent you a while ago about the POW guy? There's a quote from there I want to read, which I think is absolutely perfect. And it's the way that I look at life. And I think everyone should, because it's the most healthy way to look at it. And it stops you from being in the echo chamber and everything as well. And I'll just find it. Hang on a sec. Where is it? You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. And I think that's something that everyone should really learn, and stop waiting for someone to come and save you, and just get prepared for what we're going to have to do to get rid of these freaking tyrants. That's
Those
not the
are
people that are, that's not the puppets that we see. It's what scares me is that it's the faceless people with no names that actually control everything behind the scenes. We've got no idea who these people are. If you think Bill Gates is not just another puppet, if you think George Soros is not just another puppet, these people aren't pulling the strings. They're the puppets that we see. And until we can find the people at the very top, this structure is going to keep on going like it has for thousands of years. It's been going on since Babylon.
yeah. Yeah, this is in reality, this is really nothing new. I mean,
No, nothing at all.
the rise and fall of societies has happened for a long time, but it sure feels like it's like you said, it's the same people are in charge, and you can't. I hate when we always say, "Well, they." Well, who the fuck is they? We don't know.
No, it's like
It's the hardest
people
the
go,
hardest
"Why
nut
aren't the
to crack.
Rothschilds on the Forbes top 100 wealthiest people?" Because they own Forbes magazine. Do you think they're going to put themselves at the top?
Yeah, yeah. Make yourself a target. Probably not a good
Yeah,
idea.
exactly right.
Yeah, it it is. It's hard to swallow that you don't know who your enemies are, but it appears to be that way right now. You know
I
the
think it's always been that way.
Well, yeah, but I mean it's more prevalent to me right now. I guess is my thing. Like you said, you worry about. We all complain about Biden. He's just an idiot. He's just dumb.
He's not making any decisions. But I hope in
No,
hell.
I don't. I can't. I couldn't see how. I guess he may make small decisions on his own to make him feel better.
Or
But
whether to put sugar on his oatmeal or not.
no, Jill tells him when to do that. Blonde BLQ, thank you for the shades over on Foxhole. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's scary because being the leader of the free world used to actually kind of mean something, and you always knew the guys that were bucking against the system. You could just kind of tell by, well, one, how many attempted, executions they got to go through, and two, it was when both parties fought against them. Over here when the Republicans and the Democrats turned against you, you knew you were doing something right.
Well, Trump
But
was literally the only US president in my lifetime which I've actually looked up to as a world leader. All the rest of them I just looked at as scumbags, really.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of truth.
Well,
Well,
I'm
he
only
was,
40, so it's not. I don't remember Reagan. So
yeah.
all the ones since then have been scumbags.
Well, and Reagan had his issues. I mean, we always looked at Reagan as like the you know the bastion of conservatism that we need to scale everyone against. But without Reagan, I guess you wouldn't have had the Iran contraband. So yeah.
Didn't he start the war on drugs though?
Well, yeah, he tried.
The Stoners won that, by the way. We didn't even know we were fighting.
It's like the Great Emu War, huh? You won it without even knowing you were at war.
No, the Emus won that one.
That's what I'm saying. I doubt the emus knew they were at war. They just knew shit was going on. And they were shooting at them. So time to run away.
Yeah, tough sons of bitches though. Five 308 rounds on average to bring one down. It's not bad.
It's either a tough emu or a bad shot. One of the two.
Maybe
Of
they're
course, you got
armored drones.
a little bit of spray and armored drone. That's right. There is no such thing as birds, right? They're all just drones. Isn't that
Not since 2001, no.
Oh boy. So, yeah, is there any awakening going on right now in Australia? I mean, are people starting to
Um,
clue into the problem?
yes and no. Like, there is a lot of people because they're just about to make the third booster mandated, so that after a certain amount of time after your double jab, you're a pleb like me. You're unvaccinated scub. So there's a lot of people, especially younger people. They're like, screw this. I didn't sign up for non-stop jabs. A lot of the older people just went ahead and took it. What really disturbs me is that since they brought in vaccinations from 5 to 11-year-olds in January this year, they've already got 40% of the children having their first jab. And yeah, I don't want to see those numbers rise too much further because that just shows how many people are that brainwashed that they'll inject their kids with medical experiments for the bloody cold.
Yeah, it's speaking of kids. Mine's deciding to be a tyrant over here. Let's see here. I'll be visiting you soon, Randall. Oh.
Oh yeah, 21st of February. She can come on over. Bring the dolphins, Molly.
There you go. I guess is Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii would be considerably closer to you, wouldn't it? than Montana
Hawaii is
for sure.
about oh, 2/3 of the way from here to America, so you save
Okay.
a bit of time. It's a bloody long flight. To fly direct from Sydney to LA, I think it's about 12 or 14 hours.
Good
So
Lord.
yeah, it's a long way. Like I flew to Europe, oh, about 10 years ago, and I stopped at Singapore on the way. But even still, that was nearly 20 hours in the plane to get to London, which sucks when you're 6'5".
Yeah, that would probably get a little old.
Yeah, well, after
And
that,
I'm
I only fly business class now. I'm like, screw it, I don't care how much it costs. I'll take shorter flights and I'll fly business.
Molly says it's 7-hour flight, so there you go.
Oh, that's not bad. It's a
As long
6
as
hour
she's gonna
flight from here to Perth. So just to get
huh,
from one side of the country to the other.
try Dubai, Mac Druid says. Well, now wait a minute. Now she says or 9. What the hell? It's 7 or 9 or 12 or 42. We don't really sure. Anyway, let's see here. What else do we got? Um, Now, I know that in our talks, well, me talking, you chatting, um, I would guess that you're a little bit of a preparedness minded kind of person.
Yeah, I always have been, but it was always more for just camping on long trips than it was for any other reason. And
Gotcha.
then probably 2014, I started getting a plan ready just in case I needed to bug out permanently because I thought that Killary was getting in and I was well awake at that time and knew that these assholes had a plan for us, which wasn't going to be too much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got I could pretty much go and live out in the bush nearly permanently. Like I'd
Huh.
have to probably go into town to get a few basic supplies, but I've got everything else.
So you did this over quite a long period of time, I'm guessing. You didn't do it overnight, right?
Probably about 10 years.
Okay.
So everything that
So if,
I've always bought stuff with the idea that if shit hits the fan and the power turns off, can I still go and get food? Can I feed the dogs? Can I get water? So on and so forth. So, like, I don't have a boat, but I've got a 14-foot Hobie kayak, a fishing kayak, which I can use. I don't need petrol for that. I don't need
Mhm.
or gasoline or whatever you Americans call it.
Uh-huh.
And so that's
Uh-huh.
why I bought a mountain bike too. So I've got transport if I ever need it. And, yeah, just basic things like that.
Gotcha. So you're always kind of in the multiple usage platform when you're looking at
Yeah,
purchasing.
yeah. I've got food. Um, Sort of halfway through last year, I started stocking up on canned goods and stuff, and bulk rice and stuff like that, just in case shit really hits the fan. Like I'm not particularly worried because I've got the bay right next to me. I've got a house full of fishing gear. I could literally walk down there and catch my dinner, get some wild greens on the way home, and I'll be fine. But problem is when shit hits the fan is that everyone else is hungry too, and if they see you walking down the street with a fishing rod and the fish, you've got other problems.
Yeah, there's that whole, defending yourself thing. And we talked about that the other night. That's kind of difficult for you guys over in Australia. I mean, unless you're going to carry a long gun with you everywhere you go, or,
Yeah,
it
you'd
sounds
look
like
pretty
pistols
intimidating
are,
though if you walk around with your hunting rifle everywhere.
well, that's true. I mean, the good news is no one else has them either, or no one else should have them, I guess, as
It's
far
only
as,
really the organised crime gangs still have handguns and all the illegal weapons, but they're not out shooting in the streets like they do in America. They literally shoot each other and that's it. You don't have to worry about them unless you're a gangster or a biker. Then you don't have to worry about them shooting you.
I'm sorry, I had to, poor time for me to start laughing, but, um, Empress pitch to you posted over on Foxhole. What the hell is he wearing?
That's my
that would
chest hair, baby.
yeah, that would be artistic work of one Smokey Randy. But yeah, no, it's and it. We talked about, yeah, again the other night, how different the gun culture is between uh, us here in America and you guys, and you can tell that. Don't take this the wrong way, but you can tell that you've grown up where the gun laws have always been there. It's just second nature to you. Um, because
Up
I don't
until
know.
when I was about 15. When I was about 15 is when the big gun grab happened. But I mean, apart from I used to go shooting with my uncle. Oh, he's a nutbag, that one. He was pissed off because he actually you asked me the other night whether I had anyone in the military. My
Mhm.
uncle was actually the only one, and I think it was Green Beret, or so he was like a commando version of the Army Reserves. It was the highest level training you get in the reserves. But he had a whole lot of guns that he wasn't supposed to have. He had this bloody shotgun that looked like it was an anti-aircraft gun, and he got really pissed off when they banned them all. And then I think he waited until the very end of the amnesty to finally hand them in, because the punishments, if you get caught with an illegal firearm, it's a mandatory sentence over here, and it's like 15 years. So
Wow,
yeah, you get your ass kicked.
that's just, I don't know. That's amazing. And I got to be honest with you, I can remember watching the video of, because of course the NRA distributed it like, it was going out of style. The video of them chopping those guns up, and I got to be honest with you. There was some nice collector rifles in there. There was just a lot of stuff that a chop
I
saw
still
through the
know quite a
breach.
few farmers that never gave up their really special ones. That yeah, they've still got them.
That's what the 10-inch PVC pipes buried in the ground are for.
No, they
Um,
still use them.
yeah,
Well, I mean, the farms in Australia are so remote that yeah, you're going to see someone coming down your driveway. It'll take them 10 minutes before they get to you.
what's that cloud of dust? Oh shit! Put the guns away.
Yeah, exactly right.
Huh? Well, I guess that works. So that's I don't know. Eh, We just have a different gun culture here in the states, and it's not so much the states. I guess I should say mostly the flyover states. Like I don't know. I think there's a lot of people in like New York and California and stuff like that that would have no problem just handing their guns in and signing the little paper.
Oh, people
Um,
had a problem handing them in over here. It's just that they all got scared because yeah, some people did a false flag. So there was a meeting of the state premiers about 10 months before the Port Arthur Port Arthur massacre happened, and the state premiers, and this is all written down. It's all quoted. You can find it yourself. They said that there will never be gun control in Australia until there's a massacre in Tasmania. And sure enough, 10 months later, here's a massacre in Tasmania, and then we have the gun laws come in. So yeah, all this stuff's planned. But
no,
we've never had the. I mean, America's probably. I think is America the only place that has the Second Amendment? I don't think any other country has a constitutional carry.
not that I'm aware of. I think we are the only country. Well, and it's because we were founded. I mean, if we didn't have the ability to defend ourselves against foreign and domestic, we'd still be, hail to the queen instead of, oh, say, can you see?
I think
Um,
that's probably half the reason why the Aussies were targeted, and so was New Zealand as well, for all this tyranny, is that we don't have anything in our cultural history about defending freedom. So we went and fought in the world wars or anything, but we never had to fight for Australia. We were sent over here as a prison colony, and then Australia was given to us by the Queen. Same as, well, New Zealand wasn't a prison colony, but they never had to fight for their freedom. We never had our 1776. None of that stuff ever happened here. So I just don't know whether there's that fight in the culture. And they've destroyed our culture in the last 20 years from watering it down with, like, there's probably only, in my street, there's probably 3 Aussies, and the rest of them are all fresh migrants from all over the world that half of them don't even learn how to speak English, and they certainly don't assimilate into our culture very well. But I think that's all part of their plan as well.
And there's definitely some of that going on here where it's, well, obviously our southern border is, yeah, it's like trying to stop something with a colander, just, catching water with a colander kind of thing. They're flooding in here faster than we can, stop them as far, well, I guess technically our government doesn't want to stop them. And where they're flying them out to after they get in here is anybody's guess, but a lot of it is Florida and some of the flyover states. We've gotten some here in Montana. Um, and they appear to be putting them in the general voting districts that are kind of important for the state. But just a thought. Blonde BLQ says, "Can you imagine them saying, 'Give us your guns'?" We'd be like, "Yeah, fuck you." Um, ish.
What if they ask nicely?
Yeah. What if they have a really good reason? What if What if they sway public opinion? That's the difficult part. They never do anything until they get public opinion to sway, and that's when they move quickly. In fact, I think that's why they thought they could pull off a lot of this shit up here right now, is because if you looked at the last election and believed exactly what mainstream media told you, they had an open door to change whatever they wanted to change, and they attempted it, and now we're paying the price. But that's just my opinion. Again, I always said I'm just some dumb son of a bitch sitting in Montana. So DeSantis put a stop to that. Well, yeah, for now. I will not comply, says Mac Druid. I've said this over and over again. The problem is there's a lot of gun owners out there that we're proud of our guns. But I wonder how many are ready to fight for that right. That's the scary part to me.
Look,
And
80 years ago, everyone in America having a gun stopped you from being taken over, like physically taken over. But it didn't stop the bad guys from taking over your society and poisoning everyone with the freaking shitty food that you get over there. And most of America is all fat, highly medicated, stupid as all hell, and they're just sheeple, really. That stuff wasn't by accident.
Yeah. And remember, guys, this is, don't get offended. This is an outside perspective.
I wasn't saying the people in chat. It's like, if you're in chat, you're obviously not one of those people. Well, you might be. And if you are, stop being so fat and stupid.
Remember when I said he was a bit of a pot stirrer? There you go.
I'm behaving myself.
I know. You're doing very well, actually. I'm surprised. I haven't heard anything about a car hole lately. But yeah, I don't know. The gun culture is definitely bred into a lot of us. And even some of my friends that don't have guns, at least they can understand why we find it so important. But there again, they're the ones that are going to be easily swayed to the other side also, because they say they understand it, but if you're not in the culture, it's hard to understand. It's hard to get yourself in that mindset.
I understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it.
The gun culture.
I just think that there should be mandatory safety training for anyone that wants to have a firearm. If you can do it in a way where you're not registered at all, you can do it anonymously and you just get a tick or something like that, because stupid people and firearms are a really bad mix.
Yeah, that's that fine line that we walk over here. That's to be quite honest with you, that's the what's it? I'm trying to find the kind way to put this. That's the slippery slope that we're all scared of. Is we would be fine with safety regulations or something along that lines, But is that the 1 inch that we're going to give that they're going to take the mile?
Yeah, I completely understand that. But I mean, to be honest, if the bad guys really wanted to take over the world, do you think the guns that we have are going to do anything? They've got technology we don't even know about. They'll bloody shoot us with their laser rays and all that shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think the only hope that you have is mainly to defend yourself. I don't know if you're going to defend a country with what we got. Slowing the process, basically, making it a big enough pain in the ass. Because I mean, you look at Vietnam would be a good history to look at. There, we went over there and we had way, way, way better technology at the time than the Viet Cong, and of course, we had the War One until the government got involved, and then we went to this fire-based technique and got our asses handed to us because there was just so many of them, and they were willing to do shit that we weren't.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying earlier on. 90% of the population these days aren't willing to do those things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sucks.
Well, it's going to take, as Yuri Bezmenov said, it's not until they have the boot of the military boot on the back of their neck that these people will finally wake up to the tyranny that is surrounding them. And unfortunately, I see it day in and day out. People think that they're going to comply this away, and you people are insane. You will never comply tyranny away. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that they say the tree of liberty has to be watered with the blood of tyranny once in a while.
We're overdue. We're well overdue.
Yeah. Randy says, or Crow Girl, Jesus, says, hit us with drones, Randy. Well,
Kookaburra drones or
flamingos. We're gonna send them your way. They stink. You ever been around a flamingo? They're horrible. Anyway,
no, I don't think I've ever seen one in real life.
Oh, and yeah, they got them all over.
I think the emus killed all of the flamingos over here.
They look too similar. It was just midget flamingos or midget emus, huh?
You're the queer ones. They went all pink.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're pink and ugly and you walk funny. Oh, wait a minute, that could be. Never mind. Gonna get myself in trouble. Tyrants and patriots. Yep, exactly. It does. Yep, we're both gonna shed blood in this, unfortunately.
One thing I want to ask you, Americans, during the lockdowns, I know you won't be able to answer this because you're in a remote area. In the last 18 months, there has been cameras going up absolutely everywhere, on the sides of roads, on the top of traffic lights, literally everywhere. And they're all the bloody number plate tracking ones. They've installed these what they call speed cameras. We've got speed cameras here, but there's very suspect-looking, military-looking devices on all the exits from Melbourne, in pretty much the same spot where they had the Ring of Steel last time. And yeah, it's not just me that's noticed it. It's like even my normie mates have noticed how many cameras have been put up absolutely everywhere in the last 18 months while we're all being locked down. I'm just wondering whether anyone over there's heard of anything like that happening too.
Yeah, like you said, I can't speak to that. But I'm sure there's some folks. Oh, Uncle Krusty says, "Yep." So I was going to say there must be some folks out in the larger metropolitan areas that can speak to that. Nobody gives a shit about Montana. That's why I like being here.
Well, it's not just. It's not just in Melbourne where they're putting the cameras up. I got mates that live in the country, and one of them's a mad keen trout fisherman. And one of the places he usually walks along the back of people's properties to access this creek, there's cameras everywhere there now. And they're not on the private land, they're on the public land. And I'm like, why the hell have they got cameras pointing at a creek to see who's fishing there?
Yeah. So Blonde BLQ says not more than normal. I guess Uncle Krusty says not yet, Smokey. He was answering Sheeple Beware. Uh,
Well, Melbourne's a UN smart city, so my
well,
state premier is an absolute evil dictator, son of a bitch. Like he joined Victoria up to the Belt and Road Initiative, even though the federal government said, "Oi, oi, 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 what are you doing here? We want nothing to do with this." And the federal government actually had to bring in a new law so that they could revoke Victoria's part of the Belt and Road Initiative. But yeah, I've got a commie sellout for a leader over here, and yeah, the type of stuff that he's done in the last few years. He's militarized the police. He's spent more money on police than all the other states in Australia combined. And you saw how they behaved in the last 2 years over here. They're not particularly friendly towards the general population, that's for sure.
yeah, I watched a little bit of that the Freedom Convoy down there when the federal police moved in. They don't seem to fuck around. It's just kind of an everybody out and tow trucks showing up left and right. I mean, it was rather interesting to see how severe they decided to go. I mean, they you didn't have a lot of choice to stay in that park. It didn't look like to me, anyways. I don't know from your point of view what it looked like.
Oh, no, you didn't have a choice at all. There's still protesters there, but there's not many. But it's the same thing that happens over in Canada. Like, you only hear one side of the story from an echo chamber. You don't hear from all the normies who are sitting there screeching at home saying, I can't get down to the bloody shops to get my bloody bingo card or whatever because the trucks are there and they're honking. And it's the same shit here. The media has turned all of the protesters into anti-vax enemies. None of them even mention the fact that these people are out there fighting for your freedom. So yeah, the brainwashing is very, very, very strong down here. And I think it's to do with the isolation too. Unless you go looking for other news from around the world, we're on the opposite end of the bloody planet to most people. So I don't know. I think it's easy to brainwash the people in this population.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's not just your population. Sheeple Beware says my town doesn't even have a single damn stoplight. There you go. Me neither. Uh, every city I've
Bunch of
been.
redneck hicks.
Hey! You're just jealous.
No, we got bogans down here. We're way better than rednecks.
What, pray tell, is a bogan?
Pretty much what you're looking at on my avatar.
I was afraid you were going to say that. Huh. You know, that guy worked awful hard on that, though. So just to let everybody know, that's not actually Smokey Randy. Um, it
Yes, it
is,
is.
however, well, yeah, okay. It is, however, an Australian.
Yeah, it's definitely an Aussie.
Let's see. PC Native says a lot of police departments place cameras in South Carolina towns and cities to reduce crime. Sure.
We had portable cameras with generators that were going around to the parks in Melbourne during lockdown, and they were tracking people's movements to make sure they weren't out for more than their allocated exercise time. It was full
Oh my
on, like,
God.
yeah,
It really
it
is.
was like
It
Nazi
really was a
Germany.
prison. I mean, you're allotted an exercise time. Fucking serious?
We got 1 hour at the start, and then they gave us 2 hours, which was nice of them.
Yeah, that was.
And then they allowed us. They banned fishing and hunting and golfing. Actually, no, you could go hunting, but you couldn't go fishing and you couldn't go golfing because of the Rona.
What?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So you could go hunting, but you couldn't go fishing or golfing. That's fucking retarded.
Or you could
How do
only go
those differ?
hunting if it was within a 10-kilometer radius or 5-kilometer radius of your house. So if you lived on a property where you could hunt in your backyard, you could go hunting, but you couldn't travel anywhere to go hunting. Yeah, it was quite intense. Like during the really bad part of the lockdown, I'd be walking the dogs, and there'd be a fucking police helicopter hovering above us, checking everyone what we're doing. How far, it was fairly insane. Yeah. Anyway,
So Tiana wants to know: does Australia have a constitution with a Bill of Rights.
Yes,
Okay.
but it
Similar
doesn't
to
really
ours?
mean bugger
Or
all.
yeah. Okay. That's what I was. That's what I was concerned you were going to say. Is yes, we have one, and no, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. They took things to the Supreme Court over here to try and oh, that's a funny one actually. When they brought in all the vaccine mandates for any essential worker. So during the lockdown, you couldn't go to work unless you're an essential worker and you're on the list of the approved government worker or essential workers. You literally had to have papers. You had to have papers that you had to show the police when they pulled you over because they all used number plate scanners, so they knew how far away you were from the registration of the vehicle. And they tried to get the police force and all the judges and all the barristers, because they were part of the essential workers, they tried to get them on the vaccine mandate. And surprisingly, that was the only Supreme Court case that actually went in favour of the plaintiffs. So, yeah, the
hmm.
judges and the barristers and the police don't have to, they're not forced to get it, but everyone else is. Let's talk about a just us system.
Yep, truly is a just us system. It's what is allowed for guns in Australia. Actually, you know what? I haven't asked Smokey this, but would you be okay at some point in time if we open this up for people to come on and ask you questions, or
Oh, do I get to vet who they are?
you can?
I don't want Krusty talking to me. He's MK Ultra.
Well, yes. I mean, he is of that breed.
Yeah, you can.
Watch what you say.
I'm not fussed bringing anyone on.
All right, all right. But Sergeant Bob did ask, what is allowed for guns in Australia? Got to still have hunters there?
Yeah, I'm one of them. So is most of my mates. On the basic category AB license, you can have a double barrel shotgun, any bolt action rifle, any lever action, just no semi-autos, more or less. There's no caliber restriction. Like on my basic license, I can go and get a 50 cal bloody Barrett if I want. And then Cat C, which is for farmers and for professional shooters, they're allowed semi-autos. But if you want to get a handgun, you have to get a Cat H, and you have to join a pistol shooting club, and you have to go to a certain amount of competitions every year. And literally, the only time you can use your handgun is at the range practicing or at the range for a competition, and that's about it.
So, like, I mean, so these are scary guns. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, we're not allowed those.
Well, why not? What is the logic behind that, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, I've got no idea because it's the rules here are strange. Like I think it's the same as America. The federal government doesn't actually decide the gun rules. It's the state governments that do. And even though my state is run by an absolute fucking dictator, it's actually got some of the loosest gun laws in the whole country. If you go to New South Wales, you can't even have your stock looking like an AR. Like if it looks like it's an assault rifle, it's like can't all rifles be used for assault or defense?
Well, I have an assault baseball bat, so I mean,
Yeah, I've got an assault brick.
it's yeah. I just
Yeah, so it is like it's not easy to get a license. If you've got a criminal record, you're not getting a license. If you don't pass the safety test, you're not getting a license. You have to store your guns in a certain safe. There's quite strict rules.
hmm.
I mean, shit, if I can get away with having them, then anyone can.
Uncle Krusty wants to know, what are the costs of owning guns over there?
Well, the purchase cost is probably not that much more expensive than America. It's just got to take into consideration the shipping and the exchange rate. Ammo is expensive, so I pay for my 270. I use the Federal Premium Vital Shock, I think it is, and that is $69 for 20. And For the 204, I use the Hornady Super VMAX, and they're about $50 for 20. So
Youch. So I'm
yeah,
guessing you don't do
but
a lot of target shooting.
well, I've got a kick-ass air rifle. I've got a Day State Red Wolf, and one of the most accurate air rifles in the world. But they didn't sell any the pellets that I needed in Australia, so I had to get a gun shop to import them, and he wasn't going to do that unless he could import a whole case. So I had to buy a whole case of ammo off this dude. So I've got like 20,000 rounds for the air rifle, and it's a 22 air rifle. Like my mates were giving me shit about it when I bought it. It's like, oh, you bought a spud gun. I said, all right, well, you let me shoot you with it from 100 meters away? He said, yeah, for sure. They won't even go through my clothes. And then I got this thing.
Oh,
and, and then as soon as we started shooting it, they're like, oh, so can you stand at 100 meters now? And they're like, oh, well, maybe not, actually. So, yeah.
yeah.
I've got that thing. If shit hits the fan, I just need the scuba tanks to refill the thing.
Okay, so it's not a piston ran. It's an actual
No,
tank.
no, it's a PCP.
All right, all right. Have you looked into any of those? Okay, so what's the before I ask that question, what is the regulations on air rifles over there?
Just same as Cat A, or just you need a Cat AB. So
Okay,
you need a
so
license for it. You never used to until once the gun laws came in, then you needed one for an air rifle. But up until I was 15, you didn't need one.
Tina, I saw that earlier. She said she has an assault frying pan, um, cast iron frying pan. Sergeant Bob says he's afraid to expend any ammo right now. I'd have to agree. Um, even me being a reloader. Okay, so I wanted to ask you about that too. Do you guys have anyone that is into reloading over there, or is reloading even
Yes,
possible?
reloading is very, very, very common, just because of
Okay.
the price. So I got a mate of mine that does it. So I want to get him to show me how to do it. But it's the getting the primers and the powder at the moment is nearly impossible. So
Yeah.
I can get the bullets, but I can't. I keep the casings from all the factory ammo. But yeah, getting the powders and the primers is nearly impossible.
Yeah, we can get our hands on primers so far. The primers are starting to get a little bit better up here. Powder though is gone. I mean, there's nowhere to be found.
Where's it all
Which
gone?
that's a damn good question because I can't believe that they had every excuse in the world. First, they went with um, the whole COVID excuse. Then it was there's so many new gun owners out there that there was a run on ammunition, and the factories are just having trouble keeping up. Well,
Shouldn't they have caught up by now?
I would sure think. Um, the other thing is the amount of different powders that are out there. Uh, as far as a factory load, like you were saying, the Super Performax uses Super Performax powder. So you would think that that would catch up fairly quickly. Federal has their own powder that they use in all their federal golds and stuff like that. So you would think especially the oddball powders, like Reloader 22 or Blue Dot or stuff like that, would start showing back upon the shelves, and it's just not. So
Well,
that
what's
makes
the
me,
excuse over here? Because most of the gunpowder that we have over here is produced locally. We haven't had some huge influx of new gun owners. Yeah, you can use the COVID excuse, but most of that stuff's automated, so you're not going to be shut down for too long with a couple of people with a coof. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah,
it does make you wonder. Who's buying up the powder because the companies are still producing.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they're
I'm
not
sure they're
just
not
going to
going
shut
broke.
down. Yeah, exactly. So where's it all going is the question. Sergeant Bob says he loves the Sierra reloading manual. Use it for most of my stuff. I have the Sierra, and actually I like the Lyman book too. Um, Lyman does a pretty good reloading book for starters. If you're a person just getting into reloading, it's a good book to get your hands on because it goes through all the fundamentals of reloading first before you get into just the recipes. So,
If I
Um,
buy the Hornady reloading book, will that give me the exact recipe for the round that I use?
actually, it'll give you a varying recipe for the round that you use, so you'll be able to tailor to your gun.
Yeah.
It'll give you the the super performax recipe, and you'll have a factory and a low charge and a high charge and kind of everything in between. So if you really, really, really want to get technical about your shooting, um, you can go out, and even the type of primer that you put in makes a difference on accuracy. Even, a half a grain or a quarter of a grain here of powder makes a difference. Bullet seating depth makes a difference. So you can sit there and play with all of that to make a very, very, very accurate round. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of people just don't have time. So you either
I'm not allowed to
reload.
go to the range anymore.
Well, yeah. So that's see, my range is, I put shit in my pickup and drive out of town and put a target up.
Well,
So
that's
that's
what I have to go to the edge of a pine plantation now to do it because no pure bloods are allowed at the range.
because on that outdoor range you're going to spread COVID or what?
Yeah, supposedly.
Hmm. All right. Okay. Makes sense somehow. Blonde BLQ, thank you for the shades over on Foxhole. Appreciate that. She says they don't want you to carry pistols because you can conceal them easier. Well, that's true. Here in Montana, nope, constitutional carry. We can conceal without a license. Let's see. In the Sierra manual, just like the plastic pages and tabs. Oh, yeah, they do have some nice. They lay that book out nicely where it's tabbed for every caliber and all that kind of fun stuff. You don't have to dog ear the pages. So you were saying you have a friend of yours that reloads, and you haven't quite got into it yet, or
No, I haven't. No,
okay,
I just
it's a
bought the
good skill to
factory ammo.
learn.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, but there's it's space wise as well. Like I live in. He lives up in the country, so he's got a shed where he's got all his reloading bench and everything. And he's got all the gear.
I
I'm
gotcha.
down in the burbs. My house
So
is full of enough burbs at the moment.
what is the laws for that? I mean, do you have to have a certain spot where you keep your gunpowder? Do you have to?
No, that's the funny thing about as long as your ammunition is in a locked container, you can have your ammo wherever you like. You know those little plastic ammo crate things,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with the tiny little padlocks.
Yeah, that you can
That's where I
easily
keep my ammo in.
break
That's
open.
perfectly legal.
Makes sense, I guess. Not so
But you
much.
can't store your ammo. You can't store loose ammo in the gun safe with your guns. It has to be in a separate locked receptacle.
Hmm.
That's the same as
Yeah,
traveling with them. You can't travel with any rounds in the magazine or anything like that.
yeah, and see, there are some states here that require, well, the more liberal states require you to travel with, you know, an empty firearm and the ammunition and magazines in a different location, but it's very few and far between, and usually that's what they're worried about there is pistols. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's interesting the rules that they have for no apparent reason. Now here, I mean, hell, I can have my powder sitting in my kitchen cabinet if I wanted. I can have bullets laying everywhere around me. There's no, well, just like both that pistol that I showed you, the magazine's fully loaded. It's ready to go.
Well, the
Um,
thing that I find amusing is that our gun laws are so much stricter than yours, but our hunting rules are way looser than yours. We've got
yeah,
no seasons. We've got no bag limits. We can go out and shoot whatever, or well, not whatever we want, but if it's a feral animal, you can. There's huge amounts of public land available to go hunting on. You can, if you can go and shoot 50 deer in a weekend, you can go and shoot 50 deer in a weekend. There's a good luck doing it, but yeah, unless you find a deer farm somewhere and do a little bit of dodgy stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. Like you said, the things that aren't allowed here, but that's mainly because as far as firearms go, we have a what's a good way to put this? our belief on firearms is a little different to where it's not a matter of hunting. But
You there?
yeah, I'm here. Did I lose you?
Oh, I've just
Oh,
got
hold on.
oops, something went wrong.
Yeah, the page was reloading. I don't know what happened there. We might have lost internet for just a second. The wind is howling here, by the way. It's like 45, 50-mile-an-hour right now. It's awesome outside.
Oh, it's
But
6 kilometre winds outside at the moment and 29 degrees Celsius.
see,
What's
that's
that for your mile thingamajigs? It's about
mile thing.
three miles an hour wind and about
Oh, yeah.
85 degrees of Fahrenheit.
Huh. Well, let's see here. I can tell you quick. We are currently 48 degrees with winds west at a steady 32 miles an hour with gusts around 45. So, yeah.
Hey, why do miles change depending on whether you're on land, air, or sea?
That's a good question. You're talking about like the nautical miles or yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Aeronautical
know.
miles, nautical miles, land miles. It's like
It's
over
mainly just
here, a kilometer's a kilometer. It doesn't matter whether you're on water, air.
it's mainly just to screw with you guys, so you never really know how fast we're going.
I can do maths.
Well, yeah. Radon Antifa, good to see you in. Let's see here. Yeah,
Oh, tell
it's
Sergeant Bob, yes, Roo does make very good jerky. Very good. It's very
ooh.
lean meat, so yeah, it makes really good jerky.
So. Can you actually? Is there anything worth eating on a kangaroo other than jerky?
Yeah, yeah. The back straps. You have to cook it rare. Like if you cook it past medium rare, it'll be tough as old boots. But if you don't mind a little bit of bloody meat, then Roo's really, really tasty. It's
Really?
sort of tastes like lamb, but nowhere near as gamey. Sort of a cross between almost like lamb and venison.
Okay. All right. Just seems odd to eat an animal that looks like that. I don't know. Of course, we eat weird shit over here. So I mean,
Well, you don't have any kangaroos over there. They do have big ass legs, but they're usually tough as old boots. They
hey,
make really good dog meat.
we have kangaroos here. We actually have kangaroos in Montana.
Don't they freeze to death?
No, there's a roof farm in eastern Montana. Grotna says a nautical mile is based on 1 minute of latitude. There you go.
What would the chair force know about water?
Careful. The division he's in, he could strike you and you'd have no idea.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was one of them super spy glowies.
No. He just works on some really interesting shit. Let's put it that way.
I'm not
Let's see.
scared of Space Force.
Oh no, he's not tinfoil hat. He's still on the ground. Let's see. Had Roo put hand. What? You had a Roo put hand in your pocket. Very weird experience. Well, I'm guessing. Depending on
Sounds
what he got
kinky.
a hold of in there. Let's see here. Where in the hell are we at? Chat's coming in so fast now. I'm having trouble keeping up. But
Read
yeah.
faster.
Well, yeah, I know I need to read faster and think faster. Yeah, I need to do a lot of things. Radon Antifa says, yeah, and if I can. All right. You guys don't believe me. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Because it's funny because our Montana Highway Patrol had to herd them off the highway because they, got loose. So we had kangaroo running all over in Montana.
They are literally the worst things to be driving near because they are so random in the way that they'll hop along next to the car, and as soon as you get up close to them, they'll just hop directly in front of you. They are absolute nightmares to drive around. So there's a reason why we've got those big bull bars in all the cars over here, because if you travel in the country, I guarantee you've hit at least one kangaroo in your lifetime.
Let's see. Here we go. Right here. Here's the. I'll see if I can bring up the news article. Let's see. I got to pause this one. Now let me. I'm going to pop this loose so I can share the window. And let's see. Share the Chrome tab. There you go. 2 injured while trying to avoid hitting kangaroos on Montana's Highline. There you go. See, you thought I was kidding. We have these marsupial-looking things, I guess. It was in the town of Dodson, which is located in Phillips County in northern Montana. There you go. They were actually part of a petting zoo. Yes.
Yeah, we haven't had much luck importing animals from the US over here. Your cane toads ran amok.
You got to try harder.
Actually, no, they might have come from Brazil.
Radon Antifa says, let's see, where was it? I don't have my push guard for animals. That's more for other drivers. Well, you are out in that communist portion of, Oregon, or I guess the U.S. known as Oregon.
We actually get taught here not to slow down for kangaroos. A lot of people end up getting killed because when they hit the brakes, it dips the front of the car down, and the kangaroo ends up going through the front windscreen. We're taught just to take your foot off the accelerator and do not swerve.
Take them right down the middle. See, that's what they tell us with deer and elk over here is take them down the middle. Try to take their legs out from underneath them so they can't jump up on the car.
Yeah.
Well, and in fact, that's kind of where that whole Rugard got started, wasn't it? It was down in your neck of the woods. That big aluminum
freaking the amount of roadkill that you see on the roads in the countries over here, in the countryside over here, it's quite impressive, really. Wombats are the things you really need to work out. Wombats, twice a year, after the breeding cycle, the new wombats get kicked out of their burrows, so they're walking all over the place. And they're the stupidest animals you've ever seen in your life, but they're built like tanks. And if you hit one of those things at the wrong speed, at the wrong angle, you'll roll your car. Like it's like hitting a brick wall.
Really?
Yeah, they're bad. Really bad. Last time I went camping was during that time. And if we were driving back from hunting at night, we were doing like 40 Ks an hour, or what's that, 25 miles an hour, just so that if we come around a corner and there's a bloody wombat sitting in this, we could actually have time to brake. They're a nightmare.
So you have tank wombats that, tip your car over.
Combat wombats, we call them.
Combat wombats. So for those of you that don't know, which I thought he was always joking, you're actually serious about the whole the war on the emus, aren't you?
Oh, you're bringing up some tragic memories. This hurts the Australian psyche.
The loss of good men to the emu of the outback.
My grandfather had PTSD from the Great Emu Wars.
But in all seriousness, they actually declared war on the emu.
You should read the story for him.
I can't. It's amazing to me that instead of just opening a season or allowing people to shoot them, you guys decided to literally declare war on the emu.
And we lost.
And you lost. I was going to leave that part out for, your posterity, but yes.
You've seen the animals over here. Don't tell me your fancy guns would have done any better.
Well, if you aim for the head, you wouldn't have hurt. You'd probably got a few more. It's hard to hit. I know it's a little.
You've seen how fast they run and how small their head is. You'd have to be a bloody good shot.
Well, that's why you see we would shoot multiple times with fully automatic weapons.
Wait, I need to go to. Hang on, I need to do something in. Here we go.
While you're doing that, I'll catch them in chat. Sergeant Bob says in Iowa, as a kid, took a pheasant to
That's
the
all I
chest
needed to do.
30 mile an hour on a motorcycle. Good Lord. Knocked me clear off the bike. Yeah, no shit. That would hurt. You never hit one deer? The other 20 hit kill? Hit me, yeah. Oh, God, Lord. The sticker just popped up. Sorry. You got me on that one. Let's see. I actually had, what was it, last year? I hit 2 deer coming back from elk season or elk hunting. Um, one was an actual not her fault. I was on ice. The doe was on ice. The doe could not get her feet underneath her. She tried to run. I tried to stop, and it just didn't end well. But the other one, I was literally leaving a petro station, as you would call it, or a gas station.
Servo, mate. Servo.
What, servo?
Servo.
What the fuck does that mean?
Service station. We call petrol stations over here as servos. Going down the servo to grab some snags.
See,
I'm not
servos
joking.
over here, they're little motors that actuate.
We call them servos too, but it's not the same thing.
So confusing. Um, but yeah, so I was leaving there. So I was doing maybe at tops 15 mile an hour. Had a deer come out of the ditch, run directly into the side of me for no apparent reason, and bent up the box on my Super Duty. I was not impressed. So 2 deer, same night, about 45 minutes apart. Sheep will beware says, English, man. Got the
I speak
servos.
Australian.
Raid on Antifa says, our guns wouldn't have done any better, but we all grow up with guns, so most of us would be a good enough shot.
They use the military. They know how to shoot.
Well,
Oh, some of them.
I was going to say, they're all still so, oh boy.
I nearly hit a deer end of last May, just before the or actually while the lockdown started again. We went away for a camping trip for my 40th. Got some private land up on the Murray River. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country. And we were up there hunting. And then the lockdown came in, and there was like literally no one around. There's no cars, no nothing. And we thought, I think we might take advantage of this. So we were going out driving around the roads at night time. The old deer in the headlight trick. Boomfa, boomfa. Had a farmer shoot at us because he must have thought we were trying to shoot his sheep or something like that. He was firing a few rounds over the top of us, but got a big ass amber from it. It fed the dogs for months. Yeah, you're not allowed to do that. But considering there was no one around, we thought, well, why not?
Yeah.
Allegedly, sorry.
Allegedly, supposedly, allegedly. Yeah. Well, I can't say too much. I mean, I do know that a 22 caliber rifle will kill whitetail deer like no tomorrow. And I'm well beyond the statute of limitations, so I can talk about this. But we had a plant that closed down in our local town back in the Dakotas, and we knew quite a few of the individuals. So, yeah, 11 deer in one night was a lot of work, but we fed a lot of families, and nobody got too pissed. But we got away with it, so I guess that's a good thing.
Can you spotlight them on private land over there, or?
No artificial or no use of artificial light. So
Yeah, you can't on public hunting land. You're not allowed to use it, but on private land, it's free for all. You can take out thermal imaging in if you want.
Really? Yeah, no, you can't do that here. You can in Montana if you're hunting predatory game, so coyotes and stuff like that. We can use it on, but as far as big game, nope, not allowed.
Do you have?
We're not even
Is there
allowed to
any
use
quotas or anything on coyotes?
What's that?
Is there any like seasons for coyotes, or is that just classified as a feral and you can shoot as many as you want?
They're a vermin animal, so they're wide open. You can shoot them whenever.
What other vermin species do you have over there? Because pretty much everything's vermin over here that's introduced, so we've just got free for all.
Like cottontail is no season on it, but of course you can't shoot them when it's warm. They'll get you sick. But hogs are that way in some states, and that's the other fun part is it varies state by state. So Coyotes are free for all, Sergeant Bob says. Yep.
It's the same in Northern Territory in Australia. Their list of feral species is absolutely incredible. You can shoot camels. You can shoot. What else was there? I'd have to find the list. But yeah, it has just got this huge long list of all the different things you can shoot. We actually have more purebred camels in Australia than they do in the Middle East. All the rich people from the Middle East come and export the pure genetics from here.
Crazy.
Purest camels and the purest honeybees in the world.
I have heard that your honeybees are, it's like a fine wine almost over there. It's damn expensive to get honey out of Australia and New Zealand.
Well, you wouldn't ever get the honey that we do because you don't have the flowering plants that we do. And there's an island off Western Australia that has got the only 100% pure genetic strain of European honeybees left in the world. The rest of them have all been Africanized in some certain amount of way.
Sergeant Bob says that there's wild camels in the USA. Look it up. I believe you. I haven't heard that, but feral, that's interesting. I've never came across a wild camel. I have. We have had some young out-of-staters that came here and yeah. It was their first time elk hunting, and they were awfully excited about the cow elk that they shot and headed up to the game check. And the game warden informed them that that was a not it was not an elk. It was I'm trying to remember what in the hell. It was an
beef steer.
No, it was an alpaca. They shot a fucking alpaca out of somebody's field.
How the fuck do you get those two confused?
I don't know. I mean, you have a short-legged, long-necked critter or a long-legged, kind of long-necked, not really critter. But an alpaca is about a quarter of the size of an elk, so I don't know what the hell they were doing. But yeah, showed up with an alpaca.
They actually taste really good.
I'll take your word for it. They are a disgusting animal. Anything that spits at me deserves to die, but
goats spit at you.
What's that?
Goats spit?
Exactly. Deserve to die, but I don't think I'd eat it.
I've eaten, apart from dog, I've probably eaten most edible meats around the world. I'm never too shy about it. You go to Southeast Asia, and if it looks tasty and all the locals are eating it, you eat it, and then you ask what it is.
I don't know if I'd ask what it is.
I had
move on.
This kebab type thing. It was like a little skewer with all this really nice marinated meat grilled over this little charcoal grill. And I tasted it and went, this is absolutely beautiful meat. What is this? And I sort of just asked, what is this? And the bloke pointed at a cage full of things that looked like giant water rats.
Oh.
That tasted good. No, I'm still here.
Little muskrat kebab. It's all good for you, I guess. You're on your own there. I guess, if you season it right, anything's edible. But yeah. Sergeant Bob says he ate dog in the Philippines and it sucked. Very greasy. But it was freaking lit. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't eat dog.
I'd have trouble.
I never went to Japan, but my dad used to travel there all the time. And he ate whale there once. And I said, what did you do that for? And he goes, I just wanted to try it. I said, what is it like? And he goes, it was amazing. He goes, it had the exact same texture as beef, but tasted like fish.
That's odd. I guess that'd be all right. So for you folks out there, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, I'm going to put the link in both chats. And you guys, if you're so inclined, can hop on here and talk to Smokey directly. Because I know he doesn't make an appearance very often. But when he does, we all like to find out what's going on the other side of the world. So we'll be right back. And then we'll open up the lines.
We got a short-term dipshit right here, good for one impeachment. Gray-haired, liver-spotted geriatric fuck can't even speak a sentence, even with a teleprompter and somebody telling him what to say. One time he told me that the reason why thousands of Americans are homeless is because my dog shit in my neighbor's backyard, and then there was lasagna in the oven. I'm not sure exactly what all that means. But the hoe that's with him, she goes for free. Package deal, package deal. She's a real rip, let me tell you what. You won't find another bunch of fuck ups like these ones. I mean to tell you, they'll screw up a country in no time flat. And what do you want to do here? And 30, now pawn, now let's go, Brandon. 30, now pawn, now but a bit pawn. Now 30 pawn, now 2, now but a bit 2, 2, 2, but a bit 2. Look at that smile. That just screams I like to sniff girls. And what do you want to do here? 32, now 2, now but a bit 2, 2. He'll leave a military for you. I'm looking at you, Kimmy Jong. And 32 now, 3 now, but a bit 3, 3, 3. Putin's in now, 3 now, but a bit 3, 3, 3. Syria now, 4 now, but a bit 4, 4, 4. 34 now, 5 now, but a bit 5, 5, 5, but a bit 5. He'll give you a military, boys. Give you one. Now 35 now, but a bit 5, 5. Fuck your whole day. Now 5 now, but a bit 5, 6, 6, 6. 36, 36, but a bit 6. Let's go now. 36.
Today's episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
This portion of Montana Free was brought to you by Built Bar. If you want to eat something that actually tastes decent, not like cardboard and ground up garbage, you need to head over to Built.com. Make your selections. They got some outstanding ones, let me tell you. Then once you get that done, at checkout, make sure that you use Montana Free as your promo code, and you'll get 10% off your current order and any order after that, because I guarantee you, you're going to order more. Head over to Built.com, check them out. They have some other stuff too, pour in some broth, all that kind of fun stuff. It's, I'm telling you, the cookie dough ones. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, check them out. Built.com, Montana Free promo code, save yourself 10% on your next order. Educating our kids with our values is more important than ever. Check out the Tuttle Twins series. It's a children's book series that helps educate your children in the ways of conservative values. There's study guides at the end of every book to help parents with, the questions that we need to ask to make sure that the kids understand what they just read. So if you would, head over to montanafree.net, click on Educational Alternatives, and you'll be able to find it there. Trust me, your child's future is worth it.
Food supplies have been completely wiped out. We have a evacuation of all counties. I report complete devastation. We have a giant squall, cloud, gobbling up the other path. This is a total loss of life.
There are forces in this world that remind us of how fragile we are. We thought we were safe. We thought it could never happen to us. Then life like a fog descends upon us, blanketing our memories. Through the haze, we travel its hidden paths, lost in its secret places. And when the storm, turbulent and immovable, forces us to shelter, we remember. It calls to us, calls us back. Back to the ports and the harbors of our past. We fight the currents that pull and drag us off course, not a light or star to chart the way. And when we arrive, we don't always know it at first, the places we once loved guised by time. Then we see it, the place we've been trying to get back to. Safe at last, we've found our way home.
Alrighty, there we had a little break, got our voice back here for just a second. So yeah, all of those products that you saw, plus more, can be found at montanafree.net. Just go over to our affiliate page, and you can find them all there if you so choose to. Alrighty, so here we go. Now it's going to be open lines for now. If you check in the chats, you have your little links that you can select. Come on into Restream, and you can talk directly with an Aussie and ball him out if you feel like it. I don't care. I'm just kidding.
My chat's not working on the Restream.
Your
You still
chat's
hear
not
me though?
moving? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that's all good. Doesn't matter then. Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
That Built Bar ad sounds very sexual with all those oohs and the ahs. Ooh, Built Bars. They're like, ah. I'm not going to lie. I did
You
have a
should
good
eat
laugh
one.
at that.
It would probably, you never know what it's
I
going to
don't
make.
need any of that stuff. If I can't make it myself, like if it's, yeah. If I read the ingredients on the back of a packet and it has any number or anything like that, not for me.
Moving
I
on.
don't trust doctors, but I believe in like Hippocrates. You're supposed to take the Hippocratic oath. I don't think they do anymore. But it was him that said, "Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food." Like if you eat really good quality, healthy, organic, fresh food, you don't get sick. It's just when you eat all that highly processed crap that you just, yeah. Anyway, that's my rant. I have my health rant.
Whatever are you talking about?
Oh,
There's,
I don't know.
we only eat, non-GMO, organic, whatever here in the States.
Krusty's cores are full of that GMO corn juice.
It's good for you. Anyway, now that you gave me shit about my oohs and ahs and my sexual innuendos in my Built Bar commercial, there you go. If you're lonely, order Built Bars.
We've got a special for Valentine's Day. Buy some for you, buy some for your lady. I might start doing voiceovers for ads.
There you go. Says the man who cooks his steak in a microwave. Exactly, Tiana. I like your thinking. Anyway.
All the world's best chefs cook their prime ribs in a microwave. Everyone knows this.
No. Let's see. Sergeant Bob says, watch why Biden is saber rattling about Ukraine. China gonna invade Taiwan. Well, yeah. China's gonna
If
invade
China invades
Taiwan.
I think Australia might be wiped off the map pretty quick.
Well, come on. You guys have a military.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that the 30 million population is going to go real well against a billion people right next door that don't really like Australians.
Well, you didn't do well with the emu, so, I mean... I would hope to God that more than just Australians would come to defend Australia. I mean, you guys are kind of in a bit of a pact.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Well, you can always rely on the New Zealanders. I hear they have quite the army.
That's not huge, but they know how to fight. The Maoris were actually the first people on the planet to invent trench warfare.
Mm-hmm. No, I have a good friend of mine that's a New Zealander. Yeah.
I like
ornery.
The New Zealanders and the Australians have a great relationship. We just stir the living shit out of each other. I always say to them, "Oh yeah, that's why the seagulls fly upside down over New Zealand, because you're not worth shitting on."
It's Radon Antifa says it's the deep voice that's leaning in towards the microphone. I don't have a deep voice. I don't know why everybody thinks I have this deep voice, and sure as hell don't sound deep to me when I listen back. But there's Zoso dude. Now Zoso, I would claim, has a deep voice, but Sergeant Bob says he wouldn't fuck with an old Kiwi. Well, that's for sure. They're
good
fuzzy.
bushmen. They're very good bushmen and very good hunters. If you see some of the shit they go hunting tar in, it's some of the steepest country in the world.
Yeah, and I've heard that's a fairly sought after meat. I mean,
they only shoot the tar in springtime for the meat. The rest of the time they're just shooting them for trophies. The heads and and the furs are really good. They make awesome
fur.
rugs. Yeah, because they're originally from, I think they're originally from the Himalayas, so they've got really thick fur on them.
My stream is having connection issues, so if we drop in and out, folks, we're still here. I don't know. Smokey, are you hearing me all right?
Yeah, the video is a little bit choppy, but I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that on this side. The video is definitely not looking too tasty, but maybe we'll talk about them Built Bars again. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. Grotna says, I get to work with the Aussies often. They're badass. Crazy, a little, but dangerous. Well, I've heard that. See, the Chair Force guy that you've given so much shit to is actually saying that the Aussies are pretty damn tough.
Our special forces, like without blowing my own horn, I reckon our SAS is up there with some of the best special forces in the world. They do some real crazy shit, those blokes. But they're at the moment they're being dragged through the mud through the media in Australia for these supposed war crimes that they did in Afghanistan, and they're doing the same thing over here as they are over there, and they're just trying to make the public hate the military. They tried to do the same thing with the police force, but I mean, a lot of people do hate the cops now after the way that they treated us over the last 2 years, but they tried the Black Lives Matter shit over here and it didn't really work.
They didn't bother to stop in Montana. I don't know why. They traveled through. They were going to, but evidently a bunch of ranchers with those firearms that we were talking about earlier standing there going, "Go ahead, get off." Nope.
Wasn't there some place in California that was full of these like Mexican cowboys that just sort of just stood there in the street and eyed them all off, and they just went, "Oh no, let's get the hell out of here real fast."
Oh yeah, well, and actually, my father-in-law has 2 bars down in Southern California, in Norco, which is actually it's a red it's a red town surrounded by a bunch of blue. But Antifa was talking about, well, Antifa and Black Lives Matter was going to go to the racist cowboy bar, which is his bar, and burn that MFer to the ground. So he made a deal with people. You can't give away alcohol in California without getting in trouble. So he did, I think it was 94% off. Basically, it was just covering the cost of the booze for anyone that had a concealed carry or an open carry in California to come to the bar.
I gather
Needless
it's
to
still
say,
standing.
It's still standing today. Word got out and they went, yeah, maybe we shouldn't stop there. Sounds like them some bitches might just shoot us. Saw a Navy SEAL give his trident to the guy in Aussie Spec Ops. That's pretty cool. Got a lot of respect for those Aussies, believe it or not. They're kind of tough son bitches.
I could tell you a story. One of my closest friends, actually, I've known him for 30 years. His grandfather, to the day he died, hated the Japanese with a passion. And he finally told the story, I probably would have been about 20 years ago. And I asked him why he hated the Japanese so much. And he said, from the war. And I said, do you mind talking about what you did in the war? And he was in Papua New Guinea during I think it was the Kokoda battle. But it was some famous battle that happened in the Pacific during World War II, where there was like 30 Australian soldiers. What are they called? A battalion when you got that small little amount of them? I can't remember what they're called.
I believe so, yeah.
And then on the other side of the ridge, there was like 6,000 Japanese soldiers. And these guys held off the 6,000 Japanese soldiers until they could get reinforcements in. I think we ended up losing the battle in the end, but they held off these Japanese for weeks on end. And they had machine guns set up along the ridge with friggin' strings pulling the triggers so that you'd have one guy firing 6 or 7 different machine guns. So it looked like there was heaps more people than there really was. But to the day he died, he hated the Japanese. He goes, the things that I saw those people do, he goes, they were animals. So, yeah. A lot of people forget about the Pacific side of World War II. It's like, you think the Germans were bad. The Japanese were way worse.
Well, I mean, It wasn't the Germans that came over here and bombed the shit out of us. I mean,
No, well, the Japanese bombed Darwin. It's my grandfather, my mum's dad came over here from Scotland to fix the bomb damage in Darwin.
yeah, they evidently had a lot. Well, they had a lot crazier pilots. Was the biggest thing, but the German
We've got some of the
Luftwaffe.
best pilots in the world from the agriculture side of things. So, have you seen the bloody helicopter cattle rustling that they do in Australia?
Oh yeah, yeah. We
Those
actually
guys
have
are some of the best pilots on the face of the planet. A lot of them are ex-military, but that level of skill, and they do the same thing with the crop dusters, and they're 2 feet above the ground.
Oh yeah, we have in my small little town here, we have a rather large crop dusting company that you go out and watch those guys fly, and whoa, I'd be puking in a bag in about 3 seconds. I mean, the shit that they pull off. When you're going over a fence line and under a power line to spray, you're not that far off the ground.
Yeah, the margin of error is not very big.
No. Basically, if you take the eye off the ball for about, a half of a millisecond, you're fucked. And there's been a few that have stuffed it in the ground, but now.
Oh yeah, there's been plenty of those helicopter pilots have died.
Yeah. Real life howling mad Murdoch. Yeah. We have 2 ranches here that'll use helicopters to herd, but nothing else. I mean, everything else is still done 4-wheelers, pickups, and horseback. I mean,
what would be the biggest cattle ranch that you have in Montana or even America, really?
Oh, geez. In America, 4.6s have to be up there.
I checked the other day for Australia. The biggest one we have here is 6 million acres.
I'm not really for sure. Let me look. Shouldn't take me too long here. Wow. So this says the King Ranch is the largest cattle ranch in the United States, comprised of a group of 4 tracts of land in southeastern Texas, totaling approximately 825,000 acres. So, yeah, 6 million acres. You got us beat.
It goes over state borders.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But I mean, that land is so barren that you probably need 1,000 acres for one cow. So.
Well, yeah, it's not quite that bad over here. I mean,
well, apart from the edge of Australia, the rest of it's all desert.
Well, yeah, that's true. When you look at Australia, it's not really friendly. I mean, outside of the coastlines and some inland, but you guys kind of have shit. Well, I asked you the other night, why in the hell is it in Australia? It seems like everything's trying to kill you.
Well, I can tell you why the animals are so unique here. I don't know why they're all so poisonous. I mean, New Zealand doesn't even have any snakes. They're right next door. They've got no snakes.
It's a long way to swim.
I don't think they have any venomous creatures in New Zealand, to tell you the truth. They just decided to put them all here. We were never in the Great Floods, so there's no geographical evidence of us ever being flooded. The Aboriginals have stories about when the floods came, but it had never affected us. So the animals that you have here have been developing over millions and millions and millions of years since Australia broke off Gondwana land. So we've got a very unique set of circumstances over here that, that's why we've got so much weird shit over here, I suppose. Well, if you look at the rest of the world that went through the Great Floods, obviously Noah didn't come over here and pick up all the other crazy stuff and drop it off around the rest of the world.
Well, he might have stopped there, but then when he looked around, he went, nah, just leave that shit here.
It's something you get used to. It's the migrants are the ones that really... Some of them are just so stupid that they deserve to get bitten by the things. They're picking up stuff that just because if you see a snake in Australia, assume that it's going to kill you. Just It's a really bad. It's a funny stat. 95% of snakes outside of Australia are non-venomous and not aggressive, and it's the complete opposite in Australia. Unless you go up to where DBR is in Queensland, they've got carpet pythons and stuff like that. The rest of Australia, if you see a snake, the chances are it's got deadly poison and it'll kill you if it has a chance. So, a lot of the snakes here, if you stomp your feet when you walk around and watch where you're going, they'll generally go away from you. But tiger snakes are absolute assholes of snakes, and they just stay there coiled up in their attack position. And if you get within striking range, they will strike, they will bite. And if you piss them off and try and throw sticks at them, they'll freaking chase you. And it's yeah, it's not fun. I don't go hunting in summer because it's too hot, and I'm too worried about the dogs getting bitten by snakes. So, yeah, there's a lot of snakes, a lot of spiders. I don't have any of the real crazy shit. That's all up north. But yeah, you got to be careful in the water too. We've got a lot of blue ring octopus. Those bloody, what's the other one? The box jellyfish. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it just doesn't make sense why everything there. I mean, even the damn emu will kill you if you piss them off.
Oh no, it's the cassowary that will kill you. They've got a tropical version of that bird, which is like super aggressive and has killed heaps of tourists and stuff up in the Daintree rainforest.
Nice.
Look up to worry. They're evil bastards.
Cassowary. I gotta
with a CASSAWARY or something.
Funniest part is the first thing that comes up: cassowary attack.
Yeah, because they do.
Oh,
Goannas are
what?
cool though. I like goannas. They're generally pretty chill.
That fucking thing looks like a dinosaur. What is this thing?
Yeah, I know.
It's
like a velociraptor.
It's a fucking nasty not niceness, that's for sure. That's Jesus. Like okay, here. I'll share the screen here quick. That's not okay. Is that like a horn on the top of the head there? That's
Yeah. It's a really hard horn on the head, and they got massive big claws and talons.
Yeah, no, that's not okay. Oh Jesus, yeah, look at that. Good God. It's like a fucking velociraptor running around out there.
Nice
That's
colours,
not
though.
okay. What's that?
Nice colours, though.
Oh yeah, very pretty. Very
Yeah.
It looks like a very angry fucking turkey. I don't know.
Yeah, and giant. They're like the size of an emu, those things.
Fuck the Aussie Ocean. Bob ain't swimming there. Cone shells and little freaking octopus, y'all can have it.
Stonefish. Stonefish are the ones you really have to watch out for.
Are those the ones that if you like step on them, you have like seconds before you're dead? Kind of.
Yeah. They shut your heart down within minutes. You go into cardiac arrest, and they don't swim around. They just stay in rock pools and all that stuff, and they're so well camouflaged. You're not technically supposed to walk around bare feet in any of those rock pools. I always do, and I just make sure I'm watching where I'm going. But yeah, I was surfing down at Lawn probably 25 years ago, and some dude was walking around the rock pools and stood on one, and yeah, saw the ambulance, and he was dead by the time he left the beach. Yeah.
Jesus. See, I'm telling you, there was a reason that they picked that for a prison island. You couldn't leave if you wanted to, really. I mean,
well, look what UK's got though. They kept a tiny little island with shitty weather for themselves and gave us this huge big island. Let's send all the criminals down there. I would have been stealing a loaf of bread if it was bloody 200 years ago.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Australia is definitely it's a place. It's on my bucket list. I'm hoping that it doesn't all go to shit before I ever get a chance to go down there. But I don't know. Sergeant Bob says he's having trouble. It's sounds like his browser wants to update. To let you guys know, I think, don't quote me on this. I think I have the actual phone number fixed for the call-in show on Friday. I want to run a few more tests before I let that go. Otherwise, we'd be using it tonight. But I think I finally got it figured out. It only took like 6 other third-party softwares to get it figured out. So it's going to be awesome. Great. But so you'll be able to just call in from your phone. And I wish I had that set up tonight because I'm guessing people are more apt to pick up a phone and call in. But if you do want to talk to this strange feller over here, you can sure give us a jingle and we'll let him go. For now, it looks like, yeah. I do want to talk about a few things, a few changes that came up. So, Smokey, if it's all right with you, I'm going to put you down into the green room and I'll bring you back up here in just a little bit. All right. So, there's been a few changes to the schedule. Hopefully, you guys have been noticing in today, especially. But we, I've decided that I've been working this a little bit as a hobby. I know it seems like it's a lot of work for a hobby, but I haven't been putting as much effort as I could into it, and I apologize for that. So we have changed a little bit. We have a new schedule now. So now it is 5 days a week, 5:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the morning. We have our call-in radio show, so you guys can go ahead and put a request in for the music. We do a little music, little news, weather. We try to hit them all. And bring back just the old ways that you used to be able to drive to work listening to your AM or FM radio station. It was actually fun to listen to. Then we do an hour's worth of news at 1 o'clock. So 1 to 2 o'clock, we do just the news headlines, kind of get you guys caught up on what's going on. Carry you through your noon hours or close to your noon hours anyway. And then we have the night show, and we're going to start doing that 5 days a week. So, yeah, Sergeant Bob says I'm balls deep now. So be watching for that. I'm trying to get this to where you guys will have one place to go for just to hang out and have some good time and maybe learn a little bit too. So anyway, we're going to bring Smokey back in. If anybody has any questions, make sure to click the link and head over. We got about 5 minutes left in the show here, and then we're going to be taking off. So any questions that you have for him, make sure to get them in chat. I can read them off to him, or go ahead and call in. So without further ado, let's bring Smokey back. All righty, sir. Sorry about that.
That's all good.
Let's see.
And for all the ladies that want to ask, 14 inches, all right?
You must be talking about your forearm, or... Oh, okay.
The amount of snow that I've seen in my life.
Yeah.
I probably haven't even seen that, actually. I think I've seen the snow maybe 3 times in my entire life. Once was in Europe.
Well, it makes you feel better. I don't have any snow right now, so...
Yeah, but you should have.
Well, yeah, and I've seen deeper snow than that. We've had... Oh, God. When I lived in South Dakota, there was times where they couldn't actually plow the roads off anymore. They had to use snow blowers because it was way, way, way too deep. So, yeah, it's great fun. We actually had a gal that got stuck in the ditch for 3 days because they couldn't find her car. The snow was deep enough. So,
where's the best skiing in America?
Best
Colorado
skiing?
Or?
Depends on what you want to do. Colorado's pretty good. Tahoe's all right. I do like. There's some pretty good hills here in Montana. I know in fact, we have a few. I think we have a few skiers at the Olympics right now out of Montana. So up around the Kalispell area, you can run into some like Whitefish, big ski area over there. But
can you ice skate?
Sergeant Bob says Utah. What's that? Can
you ice skate?
Can I ice? No, I'm of the belief that other than shoes, if God didn't put them on my feet, I don't need them. Now I can put a set of crampons on and walk across an ice rink if you want to do that. But I don't ice skate.
Did you ever see the story about Australia's first ever Winter Olympic gold medal in the speed skating?
No.
There was a guy called Stephen Bradbury, and he was coming. He somehow, I think there's a few stuff ups from the other people that allowed him to get into the finals, and he was coming dead last in the finals by a considerable margin. And the first 5 people collapsed, and there was a massive crash in the last corner of the race, and he just came sailing through while the rest of them were all scrambling to their feet and won the gold medal. So now there's a saying in Australia, when you absolutely fluke something, it's like, oh, you did a Bradbury. Supposedly he got really depressed because he knew he didn't deserve the gold and all the fame and all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. He didn't fall down.
No, I'll just go onto YouTube and put Stephen Bradbury gold medal. That's hilarious to watch.
I think I actually remember. Wasn't the guy on like the inside corner? Didn't he slide out and
Yeah,
like,
and he
take
took out all the other
everybody out?
guys, and then he just came sailing through.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. Hey, what the hell? It works. Did you see 17 snowmobiles had to be rescued of Lake Superior yesterday? Ice left the shore. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Where the ice, it can happen in a couple of ways, especially over there. But I've seen it more on the rivers. The guys, right across rivers, and over in South Dakota where they're dammed up, the Army Corps of Engineer will decide to let some water out. Well, it raises the level of the frickin' lake that they're on. And suddenly now there's quite the gap of open water between that ice shelf and ground. So, but I can tell you this much: if you pin it hard enough, you got a chance. It's only a slim chance, but a chance of getting that snowmobile across that open water. But you better not care about that sled.
I can see
What's that?
Tiana's question in the chat. So pretty much all conservative Aussies love America, and most of the libtard ones hate it. So that's your answer.
So it's a lot like, the U.S. Conservatives love America, and the libtards want to change it. All right.
Yeah, more or less.
So, all right. If no other questions are going to come in, I'm going to bid you adieu, sir. I do appreciate you coming on. I know it's sometimes awkward how much we bother you, but people love talking to you and they love hearing your stories. So, but I just want to say thank
famous.
you. Don't let it go to your head, right?
Nah. There's only one thing worse than arrogance, and that's false modesty.
All right. Well, on that word, do you want to say anything to the folks before you take off? And I'm guessing we'll probably see you over at Uncle Krusty's, but
No, apart from the fact that I love spending time with you guys in chat, and you're friggin' hilarious, and I love you all, and that's about it.
All right, sir. Well, thank you for coming on, and we will, I'm sure we'll catch you over there in a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. All right, anytime.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thanks, sir.
Bye.
You too. All righty, folks. Well, there you go. We're going to try to, I didn't tell Smokey this, but we're going to try to make that a more reoccurring thing. I'm sure it'll drive him nuts as we keep bothering him to come on, but I do like hearing from the man, and it is good to hear other people's perspective, especially outside of the U.S., because a lot of the things that we see on media, especially leaning down towards the Australian area, isn't necessarily what's going on, just like what's going on here isn't necessarily what they get to see. So it's always good to reach out to these folks, and let's use this wild world of the World Wide Web to our advantage and talk to some folks that aren't necessarily in our close-knit circle. But I want to thank you all for hanging out tonight, and yeah, it's been fun, and I hope we do it more often. Wednesday is going to be a little tricky. We're gonna see what we can get done on Wednesday, who we can bring up to have a nice conversation with. I think you guys actually enjoy hearing from other people more than some of the little gadgets and gizmos and stuff like that that we build. And we're still going to do that. Don't worry. But sometimes it's good to break it up a little bit. But that being said, folks, I am going to get the heck out of here. I think Uncle Krusty will be firing up here very, very soon. But I want you to remember just a couple of things. And, I got to play Smokey's intro just one more time. But if you could, keep your heads up, keep your head on a swivel, put on the armor of God, and everything is just going to be okay. Good night, everybody. And here is Smokey's special music.